Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Endless Multiverse, episode number 3, with me, of course, Chainsaw and Andy. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Andy in the chat already. What's up, everyone?
Hello. Sorry,
Yeah.
I forgot to hit, to get rid of the
The overlay.
overlay.
That's okay. People
Yeah.
need to know the name. Endless Multiverse.
Multiverse, exactly.
We have a few topics. As you guys probably seen the thumbnail, we got Lord of the Rings images from Vanity Fair. Obi-Wan Kenobi, we now know officially when it is dropping. Also, some drama with a voice actor, John DiMaggio, with Bender on Futurama. Book of Boba Fett finished this week. And we have a little DC trailer, a little something dropped today. Little 1 minute teaser that showed a bunch of stuff. We're definitely going to get into that as well. But we want to thank you guys for being here and for supporting the first 2 episodes. And thank you everybody who's already in the chat here to support episode number 3. And of course, as always, and I'll put the thing up now because I completely forgot to put it up. We thank you all for supporting the show, whether you're watching it or super chats. As we're continuing through the topics, if you're super chat in, if you do, we thank you. Of course, thank you for that. But we will read it during the topics if it's about the topic. If not, we will read it as soon as we get to live questions. So, I think we're going to dive right in because we have a lot of things we have to say with these topics.
Exactly. So let's just jump right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So, while the number 23 is not relevant this week, we did get a lot of first look images at Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power from Amazon Prime, revealed through Vanity Fair. And, we're not going to show every image, but I picked out a few key ones. Here, as you can see, we have our new Galadriel. So excited looking.
I love that shot. Love it.
Yes, she looks so badass. So, Jordan, we learned a lot. We learned a lot from that Vanity Fair piece. So, what are some of your impressions of the images and the information that was shared?
I think it's interesting, the approach they're taking with this series, and I think it's going to be interesting to see how people handle some of the characters we've already seen, but played by somebody else. Because as we know, with casting, once you have someone already play a role and you have a prequel or something in the future, whatever, and they have to get a new actor, the question is, do people start comparing and everything? And I hope it just comes across as, look, it makes sense that we had to go for some different actors for these characters, but what I'm most interested in is the new characters that we don't know their story. Or maybe if you do know their story, this is an adaptation, so they could take it into a different direction. But I really love the photos. I like that some of it's behind the scenes filming, some of it's actual shots like on set in terms of what looks like to be from an episode. What's going to be really telling is with these images, are we going to see a lot of that in the footage? Because we're going to see our first official look in terms of a trailer on Sunday for the Rings of Power. But in terms of the images and stuff, it looks great. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm like, even though I never grew up with Lord of the Rings, I never read the books and so on. But I watched movies like after high school, and I used to love that world. So I'm just a casual fan. But by just knowing that this was happening, I was just waiting for Thursday to come, and then we got here, and I am so stoked. I think the costumes, the sets, everything that's gone into it looks so great. It was also especially moving to hear when they learned about the pandemic kicking in as they were shooting, and yeah, I am so excited. Like, I'm almost like 8 episodes are not gonna be enough, y'all. So, but at the same time, if I say that, then maybe Amazon will be like, okay, CW boy, we'll give you 22. I'm like, no, 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 no. We all good. We all good with 8. We all good with 8. All good with 8. So,
hey, I'm fine with 10 next season. 10.
Yeah, I think 10 would be a good number. It also depends on how long each episode, because that's the thing. I never watched an Amazon Prime show, so I don't know if.
Well, there's something about where the first 2 episodes are going to basically be a 3-hour kind of like telling of the Silmarillion kind of, which is very interesting.
There you go.
So, I mean, that's pretty much implying an hour, 15 hour and 20 minutes per episode, maybe. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, not the first episode, Dream Master. It said the first 2 episodes are going to be kind of a 3-hour epic, which is going to be really cool.
Yeah, and then a few other images I just want to highlight. We have our first look at Elrond, who's in the
Mhm.
show, who was played by Hugo Weaving in the original movies,
Yep.
and and then also just a favor from mine because we have some Persian representation within the Lord of the Rings verse, whatever you want to call it.
Lord of the Rings verse. That's yeah.
Yeah, Rings verse. Yeah, Lord verse, or I don't
Lord
know.
verse.
Amazon, let us know. And also some of the new characters from the series, and of course, because the internet is the internet. As soon as something is someone of color, then there's controversy. But you know what? Good on Amazon and the people behind the show for being more inclusive, taking some new directions. If the sentence that people will start with, like, I'm not a racist, but I have an issue with this, then I'm like, maybe you're a little bit racist. So I'm just, because
Yeah.
here's the thing, y'all. Us people of color, we've been here. Like, it's not like we just invented 100 years ago and now all taking your stuff from you. Like, no,
Yeah.
we've been here since the start of humanity.
Hmm.
So let's just
I, I
collect
get
ourselves.
I get that critique because all races of people have been around forever, and to say that the world of Lord of the Rings does not have a diverse group of people, that doesn't make sense to me. But okay, you keep thinking
Yeah.
what you want, but I doesn't make sense to me. But okay,
Yeah, but we can buy the idea that there are these powerful rings in existence, but like we
exactly.
can't buy that there's people of color as hobbits or as elves or whatever. Like, I'm just like, okay, quite interesting. I hope people notice the spelling of that word, but it's I don't know. I just want people to watch the show, give it a chance. You may watch and be like, what amazing actors we got for some of these characters. So,
Hmm.
switching things over to Disney Plus, the another worst secret in Hollywood is that Obi-Wan Kenobi is coming on May 25th.
Yes,
And they announced it earlier this week, and I think a trailer is probably happening later this weekend.
I will
How
be
you
surprised.
feeling about Obi-Wan's return to the screen?
It's a long time coming. It honestly is a long time coming, and the fact is too, we had heard about the idea of an Obi-Wan movie for a long time, and then there was a one point about a trilogy of movies, and then now we have the series. And then for a while there was like, okay, scripts are done, then the scripts were not done, and then of course the pandemic. There's a lot of things basically working against this, but now instead of us sitting here going, okay, they finished shooting, which was like forever ago, it feels like, now we now know when it's airing. Now in terms of the date, people are saying May 4th. May 25th is the anniversary of A New Hope when it first released in theaters in 1977. So I think this is a good release date. And also, too, because Moon Knight is airing at end of March throughout. So it's going to take that May 4th away. But I think they did a better job because Obi-Wan was introduced in A New Hope on May 25th. So the show starting on May 25th, I think makes a lot of sense, and I'm excited to see footage. And I think you're right. I think we'll see a trailer Sunday. I won't be surprised, but then again, I will also go, yeah, they're probably going to wait. I mean, I don't think they should wait at this point, but we'll see.
Well, I mean, not even a day had passed, and after Boba Fett finished, and they like, we have the next thing now. Let's just focus on that.
Yeah, they
Uh,
literally hours later, they're like,
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. I wonder if Obi-Wan is going to be in every episode of his own show, though.
Probably not. Oh my gosh. But see, everybody's been waiting for this announcement. So they knew, regardless of the response to Book of Boba Fett, which I'll get to that later in terms of the finale, regardless of the response, people are instantly going to go, forget Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, So regardless, they were going to win the day, regardless of the outcome of the Book of Boba Fett, which, yeah.
Yeah, I am. Again, I've kind of taken a bit of a break from the Star Wars universe for a while, so I haven't seen Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett and so on.
You got to see
But
Mandalorian. You got to see Mandalorian.
yeah, I will at some point, but I know that I've always enjoyed Obi-Wan, particularly Ewan McGregor's portrayal of him. And not that I mean, I have no love for the prequels. That was the longest weekend of my entire life.
Wow.
And like, if I ever see a Jar Jar cosplayer, I may like actually flip. It's like Jar Jars, just stay away from me.
Mhm.
But I'm excited for this show. I'm looking forward to what they're gonna do in the story, and I think the dude is such a great actor, and he just does so much good work over the years that I'm glad that he gets to revisit his character, and it's interesting. We're in this prequel era now where like they kind of get to redeem some things. Like it sounds like,
Mhm.
but again, I just hope that he's in every episode of his own show.
I think so, based on the fact that it's Deborah Chow who did direct some of the Mandalorian, and now she's on just focusing. I think she directed all the episodes. I think all six. I believe there's 6 episodes. Um, so it's gonna be interesting to see how it's handled. Because I mean, with this, we know that Hayden Christensen's there for Darth Vader, and Obi-Wan himself. I said Obi-Wan. He's Hugh McGregor. He talked about how it sounds like him and Anakin, Hayden Christensen, they shot prequel era Clone Wars stuff in live action that we've not seen before. And I get the critiques of the prequels, but I'm curious to see if they do some basically live action versions of stuff from the Clone Wars animated series. We get to see in a new light, essentially, in terms of live action. Like we've already seen this, but it's a different perspective from somebody else, maybe, because maybe the scene we saw in Clone Wars hypothetically is Anakin's perspective, but this time we see it from Obi-Wan's perspective in terms of where it's the focus, because of course it's a show, so it makes sense. But
So what? Because I haven't seen Clone Wars either. So like, when does Obi-Wan take place? Is it like
Obi-Wan takes place
after season 7?
Oh yeah, this takes place after Revenge of the Sith. I think they said 5 or 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. I think it's 10 years. If that sounds more correct. So it's in that giant area of space and time in terms of prequel to the original trilogy that we don't know too much in terms of stuff. Because in Rebels, they did cover a little bit of close, like it's getting kind of close. Like Anakin, Luke was like 6, 7, 8, but he's so far in the distance you can't really see him. But we see Obi-Wan kind of getting close to that age of that point. But this is before he becomes Alec Guinness, of course. So yeah, Obi-Wan takes place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. Thank you so much, Triple X. That's also Justin posted it as well. 10 years. So obviously, and it makes sense for the age of Ewan as well. It kind of helps with the age of that, because back, of course, he was filming in the early to mid 2000s for the prequels. So now, I mean, obviously he's way older than the 10 years, but still
doesn't look like it.
No, it doesn't. But it works timeline wise, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. I think that might be the first Star Wars show I may actually get into, and then if it captures me, I may actually go and watch the other ones as well. So.
Yeah.
But we got some. Is it time for the drama?
Yep, time for drama, guys.
Okay.
Now,
what's happened? Who messed up? What's coming back?
It sounds like Hulu messed up. So John DiMaggio, the voice of Bender, you see him there in the image. John DiMaggio, who has done so much work over the years in terms of voiceover. Bender is one of his most iconic roles, and we got the announcement a few days ago that Hulu was reviving Futurama, which makes sense because now that Disney owns Fox, all Fox properties, it makes sense that Hulu is going to bring Futurama back. It already came back once on Comedy Central. Now it's back again. However, sounds like all of the main cast is returning except for John DiMaggio, because apparently they lowballed him in his deal. And he's very frustrated. He's been openly tweeting fans that are against the Hulu revival. And the funny thing too, Hulu used an image of Bender as a way to announce the revival. Somebody had tweeted out a few days ago that John retweeted that they apparently Hulu sent out a casting call for someone to mimic Bender's voice. Okay, it's me now. But they sent out a basically memo of trying to find somebody to replace John as Bender because he didn't accept the offer. There's a lot of things going on with this story. It sounds crazy. I've been keeping up with it as much as I can. John, like I said, John DiMaggio, the actor, he's been tweeting a lot of stuff out. He's been retweeting Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, Tara Strong, who's, of course, voiced Batgirl from Batman the Animated Series, Raven from Teen Titans, more recently, of course, Harley Quinn. It's crazy how much backlash this is brought up in terms of even actors who are against this whole notion of what's happening to John. And people are saying, just pay John what he's worth, because John has done so much stuff over the years in terms of video games, TV shows, films. He's done so much. I mean, he literally did a documentary about voiceover acting because he wants to help these actors who probably don't get a lot of praise like they should, to get the attention they deserve, because all the work they put into making the things that we grew up and love. So yeah, it's a whole messy situation. I hope it gets figured out, but it sounds like at this point it's Friday now. They're having a table read on Monday for the revival, and it sounds like he won't be there unless something major happens over the weekend. I don't know. It sounds really messy. But yeah, I wanted to cover it because I feel like it's a pretty interesting story, because it's pretty crazy.
The fact that they're already doing a table read this coming week,
Yeah.
like I mean, they must have been planning this forever, and but like this is just a weird marketing strategy. And again, of course, it's sad to hear someone like him get screwed over like that. So especially with such a because I never watched Futurama, but like I know that it's it has a huge legacy within animated comedies and so on. So this is just really weird, and I hope that reparations are done.
Especially with the whole timing of it too, because literally, I guess talks just stopped between Hulu and him and his team 2 weeks ago, and that's when they sent out this thing saying we're looking for someone to mimic Bender. Like they were just going to recast, and people are saying if you're looking to jump in to fill that role, like trust me, you don't want to do that. Like it's not going to be a good look right now, especially with how Hulu is treating this whole situation, or basically Disney. I mean, I'm guessing Hulu are the ones that are doing the contracts because they're the ones licensing and using the show. But yeah, so it's a whole messy situation, but hopefully it gets resolved, because there is still a chance he could still come back and be the voice of Bender in the show. He just probably won't be there right away. So
I think given that this controversy happened, I think it's been taking over social media for quite some time today. Mm-hmm. I would not be shocked if we suddenly hear that something has been pushed back, or that that they're going to work some overtime during the weekend to solve this, because they want success. If this is something that they can assure and avoid a controversy from, then then it's may as well just get taken care of and so on. It's sad to hear when this should be something for everyone to get to celebrate, but then there is sort of crucial component that doesn't get to be part of it, where like it's not like he's passed away, or there's that there's a scandal with him or whatever, as far as I know. So it's I hope it gets solved.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is, it'd be different if Bender was like a background character, doesn't really pop up much, but he's literally a co-lead on the show. And a lot of people think he's the best character on the show. So, yeah, it's ridiculous. But, oh, yeah. So, we had a show.
More Disney talk to do.
We had a show in this week. And it's a little show called The Book of Boba Fett. Now, I had to use this image from the Boba is in the background. Mandalorian's in the front. Mando Din. But The Book of Boba Fett ended this week. And, without saying too much, it ended on kind of a weird note. It's strange how this show started off as a Book of Boba Fett show about Boba Fett. 4 episodes in. The 5th episode, number 5. Din right there in the front takes over. 95% of it is Din, all focused on the Mandalorian. The last 20 seconds, 30 seconds, Finnick, Ming-Na Wen shows up, makes it a Boba Fett show. Episode 6, we followed Din again, and as we were mentioning in last week's episode 2, Boba had a cameo in his own show in episode 6, but it was so focused on Grogu, Luke, Ahsoka, so many things, and then Cad Bane, of course. So the finale had a lot of fighting. There were some really weird moments and things that just doesn't make sense. And Boba rides a Rancor. He rides a Rancor into battle, which I love Rancors, but people make the point, why didn't he go get his gunship and mow down some people? Because, I mean, you're in a war. He went back to the palace, get the gunship, but he got the Rancor. I guess just because they set up the Rancor, he wanted to ride the Rancor, so they had to pay it off. And then, I didn't tell you this, Andy, before. Here's the kicker. After all of this happens...
Crazy was in it?
No, that would have made it better. What makes it worse, at the end, one of the last things that Boba says to Fennec, he says, I don't think we're cut out for this. So after all this time of trying to take the throne of Jabba the Hutt, taking his throne, he goes to Fennec and they both go, I don't think we're cut out for this. I don't know. And then everyone's now assuming, okay, that means that Mandalorian season 3, Boba's going to show up in Mandalorian season 3, and they're going to go to Mandalore because they already set that up with him going to Mandalore, anyways. Mando. So sounds like we're going to get Boba Fett. Which I mean, look, here's the thing: Boba Fett was so much better in the Mandalorian season 2. In his own show, it just went all over the place. So I feel like Boba's probably going to work better in a side role and not his own show. So I feel like maybe this show shouldn't have happened at all. Maybe it shouldn't have. I don't know. We got some really cool stuff, but a lot of it was not Boba. It wasn't focused on Boba. Like the cool stuff. Seeing Luke train Grogu, seeing Ahsoka and Luke talking and her mentioning Anakin to Luke, and then seeing Mando kicking ass. And even though with that shot I just showed, they were fighting together, they did that in Mandalorian season 2. So did this show really need to happen if he's also going to question? I don't know if we're cut out for this. After doing all this and fighting back against the Pikes, is it worth it? I don't know. So yeah, a lot of weird stuff, a lot of weird moments, but yeah, so that show's over with. Now we get to relax a little bit and wait for Moon Knight. But ultimately, the next Marvel show, which not Marvel, Star Wars, can't even think today, is Obi-Wan. So hopefully they'll start off on a better note with that. We'll see.
Listen, I'm just happy for my queen Ming-Na Wen getting paid and being in another huge franchise. For those who don't know, Ming-Na Wen is also known as Milan, the little Milan, and the Cavalry, aka Melinda May from Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the best Marvel TV show that ever has been. Fight me and I will block you. So
also too, Ming-Na Wen did something really awesome in the finale. She mowed down a bunch of guys and hung a guy. Hung the man.
Sounds like something she would do because she's awesome.
It reminded me of Melinda May a little bit in terms of she was just kicking ass and taking names. Like she literally was hidden the majority of the time taking out these guys. You couldn't even see her. She was kicking ass. So
do you think she can show up on Obi-Wan?
No. Timeline wise, it wouldn't, because Obi-Wan takes place in between prequels and original. The Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, these shows take place after the original trilogy. So
okay.
I think Fennec popped up in the Bad Batch. Maybe a young Fennec could, but I don't think it'd be Ming-Na Wen. But I don't think she's going to show up here because I feel like there's no connection with her and Obi-Wan. But that's just me. But yeah.
Either way, just happy for her, and hopefully we'll see her soon in the MCU again. Because again, Disney, if Disney knows well, they know to work with talent, and she's a talent. She's a talent.
I mean, and now it's like we have something big next, some big news, something that you said was not going to happen.
No,
you said you weren't sure.
Boy, listen to me. Here's what I said. Sure. Okay. Let's get into this rant first of all that we hadn't planned. So he calls me, which is fine. Like he can call me. It's all good. If I'm busy, I'm busy. If I'm not busy, I'm not busy.
Yeah.
And he says, I think there's they're dropping something DC movies related today. And I said, but what are we basing this on? Also because I was in another mindset or something else. I just, naturally, I'm going to ask, like, where's this coming from? Mm-hmm. So I said, well, if it happens today, great. If it doesn't happen today, it's going to probably happen on Sunday anyway. So I never said it's definitely not going to happen because I'm flexible. I'm open to possibilities. So, let's...
I would say, before we get into it, because we got a lot of stuff to cover, I found The Rock's tweet where he says, I'm dropping this tomorrow, which was today.
Okay. So, before we show, we have a super chat from Jon Snow Rules. Thank you, John, so much. Fennec was in Bad Batch season 1.
I did mention that it's a young Fennec, so I think it could work. But I don't think Ming-Na Wen would be portraying her. But I don't think it's going to happen in terms of her popping up in Obi-Wan. I could be wrong, but I feel like at this point, just keep it focused on Obi-Wan. Let the focus be mainly on him and the surrounding characters that he knows. We don't need to have Fennec show up. But that's just me. But let's dive in.
Yeah. So earlier today, they released a DC movies preview trailer for all the films for this year. For this year, we have the Batman, Black Adam, the Flash, and Aquaman and the Lost Kingdom. And
DC, the world needs heroes.
Yes,
love the title.
Oh yes, and we're gonna talk about all 4 films at various degrees. I didn't put up any overlays for the Batman because they didn't really show us anything new. No. This was mostly for the 3 other films. So, but we can start with Aquaman since it's one we at least talk about.
Love it.
What are your thoughts on it?
What I love so much is the fact that this suit works so well in live action, because for the longest time it looked ridiculous in terms of the color scheme. In the comics, they made it work. But I'm so glad that, of course, New 52 they made it work in live action. People thought they would never do this. They would never give him a comic accurate suit. I think it looks better here than it does in the first Aquaman. The color scheme, I think they altered some. I mean, I could be wrong, but it looks different to me.
Yeah, I think they tinkered with it a little bit and so on, because also it's been a few years now since we've seen him in a original suit. So yeah, I mean, and they usually always do. They always like kind of recreate the same costume, but do some adjustments.
Yeah.
But no, I'm this is the DC film I feel I know the least about in terms of what's coming up. So I'm excited to see what they're gonna do in this. I think there's a lot of setup they're gonna be doing, and I know there's also we did see a few shots of the black suit, which I don't know how I feel about it, but it's good to know that it's just a camouflage suit, apparently. So
That stealth suit going, dude. Heck yeah.
yeah.
Heck yeah.
So well, let's go to my boy, The Flash.
Oh my god.
Ezra Miller, they're back as Barry Allen, aka The Flash, and y'all, this suit is gorgeous, and I cannot believe this is completely a CGI suit. I know the cowl is parts of it is real sometimes when they were filming, but yeah, this looks sick. What do you think about our boy Flash?
The suit looks the best it has been. Obviously, with that DC Phantom trailer, they were still in early post production on it.
Mhm.
But with this, like it looks more finalized now in terms of the lightning. Like looks like lightning bolts are going through. Like in terms of the color, it looks really detailed. And I like the fact the visor comes over the eyes. That was a cool thing that they showed, because the zoom in was already cool enough, but the zoom in to show the visor it really worked. Yeah, I like the Flash stuff. I'm really curious to see like how it's going to look when he runs, because we've seen how Zack Snyder shot how he runs in terms of course the theatrical cut, but ultimately the Snyder cut, how it looked. So I'm curious to see how this is, if there's going to be a difference. I'm assuming there's going to be a difference in terms of how it's going to look.
I think that because I know some of the Snyder cut VFX people are working on this. So I think that, and there's more people involved from his film. So I now that we don't have a certain toxic director attached to this Flash, I think whatever Ezra started doing with Zach in terms of like the physical stuff, I think it will continue here.
Yeah.
But anything else?
He's going to learn, like, right, because like in the Snyder cut, he was just Barry Allen, but then when he met Barry from Crisis, he learned of the name Flash. So I feel like that's going to tie in, and of course I do think that Grant Gustin's going to be in it. But anyways, yeah, so I'm excited. I'm liking it. But we have a lot to talk about in terms of another film that showed a lot. More.
I just want to bring up this though, because just so people don't think that either of us or me, because I do Flash podcast, that I didn't know. Yes, we all remember that Barry in season 4 had a visor too, and because Twitter is all like, yeah, they ripped it off, guys. It's not like the CW shows invented visors, and you know what, good on the Flash movie for taking some of the the working parts of Flash. So can we just they wrapped it off? Oh my god! Anyway, so
it's in the comics too. It's not just a thing that's. I believe it's something in the comics too, if I remember correctly.
Well, I think in the comics they usually go with like the white lenses.
Yeah, like so a version of it has occurred. So it's not like all of a sudden the TV shows or the movies created it. It doesn't make sense.
Exactly. Well, let's go over to Black Adam. Son, I'm so ready for this movie. I am so excited for Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. We see a lot of Black Adam's little origin story, bits and pieces of his origin story that is going to be huge. And of course, we meet the Justice Society of America. Our first look at Hawkman, played by Aldous Hodge. We have our first look at Dr. Fate, played by Pierce Brosnan. Oh my god, I've never wanted a helmet to hit me in the head as hard as that helmet. Like I'm like I want to play football and I want to use that just because. We also have Adam Smasher, played by Noah Centino,
something like that. Yeah, I think that
something like that.
Yeah.
And then we have our first look at Cyclone, played by Quintessa Swindle, who, a lesser known Jason member, but definitely someone who's been on the team for quite a while. And oh my god, I don't, go ahead, you start.
Well, what I liked a lot is that they showed a lot more Black Adam footage than I thought they were going to, but with the shots of Black Adam, The Rock, what I liked the most is that a lot of the shots, of course, were him just standing there without the cloak, the hood on. But that one shot, the opening shot of there that you showed, looks awesome. It looks so like that looks awesome. Like I just love the fact, and I'm assuming this is when he first rises. I'm guessing, or he reveals himself, because I mean, with that footage from DC Phantom, that's what they showed what looks like him, coming to Earth or whatever, or some sort of connection to him coming back or something or whatever. So I feel like that's probably going to be soon after. I could be wrong, but with the other heroes, I think Hawkman looks really interesting. I love the design they went with, and like it just looks so detailed. And I love the fact that it's just this quick one shot, like in terms of like just the wings spreading out. Like I just love that it's so simple, but yet it's so effective because we get to see what the suit looks like. And the other thing that really stood out to me was Dr. Fate, because Dr. Fate is a phenomenal character that I feel like deserves to be in more stuff than he actually is. And the fact that he has a heavy presence in Young Justice is awesome. But here I'm glad that, first of all, Pierce Brosnan, I cannot believe they got him to play Dr. Fate. But the fact that the suit looks great. And I can't wait to see what they do with Dr. Fate in this, because I feel like Dr. Fate is going to appear in more stuff after this. This cannot be a one and done. This does not mean that Pierce Brosnan will continue. It means that the character itself, Dr. Fate, will have to continue, because this is too important of a character to be a one and done, in my opinion. But everything looks great. I was honestly expecting maybe more Flash in terms of footage from the trailer, but the fact that it was actually really more Black Adam than anything else.
Well, that's good because that's the one that's coming after the Batman.
Oh,
So
it
I
is?
think it's,
I thought Flash.
yeah. Flash is November. We have Black Adam in July,
Wait, when does Aquaman come out then?
and I believe December.
Oh, so that they're back to back really quick. Okay.
Or no, actually, you know what? You know what? I can check this because I have things
Okay.
open, and Aquaman is December 16th.
Okay.
So, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah, Black. Yeah, I keep forgetting that, like, because something that this trailer had to remind me is that, oh, that's Dwayne Johnson playing Black Adam. Like, I got so sucked into it that I'm like, oh right, one of the most iconic actors on the planet is playing this huge role. So, but I just probably, that's probably what they're going for. They don't want you to feel like he's playing Black Adam, but more that he is Black Adam. So
He was cast forever ago, and they're finally now making it.
September 2014, and which was, it's so funny because Ezra, they were also cast in October 2014, and that's when their movie got announced. So, and I'm like, we've been waiting 8 years for the Flash movie. We've been waiting 8 years for this, just to see him as Black Adam. And so, no, it looks phenomenal. I am definitely interested to see his origin story, because it's gonna, I think it's gonna be very, very gritty based on what The Rock has talked about. As someone who like really got into the JSA through Smallville, like I am so happy that they're bringing them to DC, into DCU. I love what they've been doing on Stargirl, and I feel that it's so good because we're getting the best of both worlds now. We're getting the young JSA, the next generation, and we're getting the original JSA in the movies. So I think, like, it's a win-win for everyone. And like, because Doctor Fate, I felt I feel I had seen already somehow what Hawkman was going to look, but I was more a little bit nervous what Doctor Fate was going to look like, because that's a costume that you could either, you can make it or break it. But no, they nailed that. And again, that helmet can just throw it at me. Like I literally want to play football and get hurt you wearing it. Like those, those wings can hurt me if they need to. So Adam Smasher, yeah, this is definitely a little more accurate than what Flash is into. Although I will say that back in season 2 of Flash, that was still remarkable on a VFX level what they did. But this will be interesting to see, and also just the costume is just so like it really, like, there's just something that stands out about it so much. And Cyclone, like I'm interested to see more of Cyclone, because I think they we didn't see their power that much. So
No, and the thing is too, I think it's interesting that it's an interesting lineup in terms of JSA members, in terms of what they're
yeah,
going. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they do with the movie.
yeah. With the Batman, like honestly, I don't know what. Yes, Fernando, you're late again. I'm kidding.
Always late.
um, I don't know what to say about the Batman at this point. I feel like we've seen so much already that I feel like it's like, is it? I mean, what else can we say? I mean, yeah, the movie's gonna be awesome. It looks fantastic, and I think that's why they probably didn't show as much from that, and more so with Black Adam and the Flash, because
They've done so much marketing for it already that you realistically don't need to show really that much. You need to highlight it because it's 2022, and what I think is smart is that they could have put out like a 30-second TV spot for Black Adam, a 30-second spot for Aquaman, but what they did was smart. They highlighted all 4 films in live action 2022 in one 1-minute spot instead of spreading it out. You just make it one spot, focus and highlight on the 3 others that we haven't seen much of besides, because Aquaman Lost Kingdom did not have any footage at DC Fandom besides behind the scenes. Flash had a spot. Black Adam had a little bit of a like scene and also some footage, but like it's better to highlight those films more instead of the Batman, because at this point we've already seen so much of the Batman in terms of marketing. They don't need to highlight it too much. Like basically what they're doing is a final push at Super Bowl with that spot for Batman, because the tickets are on sale now. So
and most likely sold out based on where you're trying to get them.
yeah, and I already got my tickets. And the thing is, too, I think what's going to do is people are going to see that spot and go, "Oh, the Batman," and then they're going to look it up, and then they're going to, "Oh, tickets are on sale now." To the people who maybe are not aware, because I think people are aware, but not everybody checks online and checks their social media every day to see what's happening. So there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be, "Oh, they're coming up with a Flash movie. Oh, they got an Aquaman sequel. Oh, they got a Dwayne the Rock Johnson's playing a hero, or they're gonna think hero because he's an anti-hero, but still they're gonna see what, because there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be introduced to these films for the first time who don't keep up with this stuff. So it's smart marketing on that aspect. But yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked though, and I'm like, this is just me speculating. I'm not saying this is gonna happen, get guaranteed, but I wonder if we're actually getting separate spots for all 4 films. With stuff we didn't see today, like it would, because again, I'm thinking if I'm Warner Brothers, if I'm Disney or whatever, and I pay all this money to be free, to be highlighted at the Super Bowl, you're not just gonna show anything, just something like that for free, or just show something that is supposed to be a big centerpiece for you. So like, I wouldn't be shocked if we see more things on Sunday, like at least like 30 seconds. I don't think like there's gonna be like 1 or 2 minute trailer for each film. That would be ridiculous. So
they don't need it. Don't need it. Not right now, at least.
Do we want to give some predictions for the Super Bowl trailers? Again, I mean, I don't care about sports games that much, so like I can't predict what team is gonna win or whatever.
Super Bowl is only really exciting for me for trailers. I think you may be right about in terms of maybe we'll see something else in terms of a spot. Maybe they'll have a Batman spot. Who knows, to push it again for tickets. I think we're gonna get. I'm only predicting for Marvel and Star Wars. I don't know anything about anything else because we just got Jurassic World Dominion trailer this week from Universal. I think they might do a TV spot for that, but we already have the trailer. Marvel, I think we're going to get Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. I feel like that's a guarantee. It's coming out in May. I think May. Regardless, we know it's coming out fairly soon in a couple months. They're gonna push that because we only had that trailer, but they're probably going to put a TV spot out. Star Wars, I think Obi-Wan is the most likely. Obviously, I don't know when Andor is coming out. I'm guessing Andor is probably next after Obi-Wan, but I think it's probably guaranteed Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and Obi-Wan. And Lord of the Rings, we know we're getting that, but in terms of what we don't know for sure, I feel like those are 2 that are probably, I'm not saying locked in, but I think a very strong possibility we'll see those. But we'll see. I mean, also Moon Knight. They might drop a Moon Knight TV spot since that's the next Marvel show. It's coming in March. So, I mean, they might do that too. But I feel like if Marvel's going to push anything in particular, it's going to be Multiverse of Madness just because that film was supposed to be bonkers. Like No Way Home times infinity in terms of how crazy it's going to get in terms of multiverse stuff. So I feel like they're going to push that more. So
yeah, I am. I mean, I feel that There's things I want to see, but I don't think they're coming at all because I think it's just too far down the line. It would be cool because I remember a few years ago when they did, at least during, I mean, this was during the Olympics, I guess, but this was they revealed, they announced that they were doing a revival, Heroes
Mhm.
Reborn, and I was like, no one had heard anything, about it. That was literally those 15 seconds was the first time the entire world had gotten to see it. So it would be cool if something like that for DC TV or Marvel or whatever, that if they did something like that, that would be kind of phenomenal. Like, but at the same time, I haven't seen those studios do something like that before, at least in the last few years. So it,
Really expensive for a spot. So
I mean,
um,
they have. I mean, money is not a problem for them. That's the thing. It's just about like what they actually want to promote. But if I were them, if I had something that you could announce, there's like, yeah, it's already picked up the series, and we have this is the creative team, whatever, and so on. But like we're showing you this kind of cool graphic, or
mhm.
whatnot. It would be kind of dope. But we shall see. But those are all the topics for this week. So we're jumping to Q&A now. So you wanna
Aliens
shall,
time.
shall we go back to the top of the chat and see what people been
Yeah, see what
saying?
people are saying. I'm gonna keep an eye on the bottom. If you guys want to ask your questions, go in now. Of course, if you guys want to support the channel, but the channel show, but still, super chats, of course, are very welcome. We really appreciate it in terms of supporting the show. But we're here to answer your questions in terms of things you want to talk about. I saw someone bringing up a number of topics. We have one question here about, are we going to go see Uncharted? I'm probably not going to see it. Probably not right away. It's not because of the ratings or in terms of the reviews coming out in terms of it not looking that great. I just never had this overly hype, feeling for it. I just never really felt like I have to go see this movie opening weekend.
I am not a. I mean, I really have no attachment to that franchise, so probably not.
Yeah. Let's see here. Okay, Craig's got a question for you, actually.
Oh, it's a Craig Byrne. Oh, hello, Craig Byrne. That's my good buddy Craig, who does the Krypton side, KSAT, does a lot of amazing stuff. And I wish it was true, Craig, but sadly no.
That was rumor. It was rumor a long time ago. I remember seeing that rumor a long time ago.
Yeah, and like most things in the world, it was BS.
Connor, I already addressed this during the Boba Fett topic. It's all over the place, but we covered it. I'm troll. Oh, Craig's
Oh
trolling.
yeah. No, he that's one of our inside jokes that will never be spoken on air. But yeah, no matter what I do, uh, he will always find a way. If I'm doing something live, he will always find a way to bring it up.
Uh,
Are the Star Wars movies and shows worth watching? My favorite genres are action and comedy. Do you think I will like them?
I think so. I think it depends on where you start. If you watch the original trilogy, I recommend starting the original trilogy: A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. I'm assuming Andy's going to tell you don't watch the prequels.
I would say just watch them if you want. If you're a completionist and just want to know like the lore, then I would say watch them. And there's going to be a lot of bad parts with it. I mean, there's some good. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is in a Star Wars franchise. Like that's kind of epic. And Natalie Portman, and again, you get to really see Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan. So I would say watch all of them. Watch all of them, and again, but I don't think. But you know what? Maybe you will like that. Not everyone hates the prequels. It's. I mean, there's a reason we also now have this era of Star Wars TV shows where they are doing shows in like the prequel era. So
Basic Webhead has a question about, and he's a couple people were bringing this up in the chat while we were going on our topics.
mhm.
So this is very interesting. I think this is because Netflix's contract probably didn't really own these shows in perpetuity. They probably owned the licensing fee to have them on the streaming service, but once they canceled them, there's a clock that's winding down in terms of how much time they have left to keep them. There's people talking about how they think that Disney paid for these shows. I don't believe that, because when they canceled Daredevil, when they canceled all these shows, there was a 2-year window of time Marvel could not touch the characters in terms of basically using Daredevil, using Kingpin. They had 2 years they couldn't touch the characters. But literally 2 years after they canceled Daredevil, it was just confirmed by Charlie Cox himself that Kevin Feige called him over the summer 2020 about reprising his role as Daredevil. So they waited till the 2 years was up. Same thing with Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, same thing. We had to wait 2 years after the cancellation. So I'm assuming that was a part of the contract, and now the show is now being reverted to being owned by Marvel, Disney. It was a part of the contract as well. Because if Netflix would have kept paying for the shows and kept producing them in terms of paying for them to own them, and they would have gotten season 4 of Daredevil, blah, 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 then the rights would have still been with them longer than it ended up being. But that's my
yeah. I mean, I think that this was always meant to happen. That they would, the licensings would go up because again, like this, Marvel wasn't stupid. Like they would never have just given them the character rights, just given the IPs like that just for their deal and so on. Like I think they always had let's see how this goes for the next X amount of years, and obviously Disney Plus came up, so they were like, well, we're just gonna wait till the window is over and we will get them back. So, and I would not be shocked at all if the next place you see them at is all Disney Plus, because it's not like they don't have dark content there anyway. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, for United States, they have Hulu as their thing. I think over there, do you have Stars on your Disney Plus?
No, I have Hulu.
Okay, yeah, because I know in some countries, Stars is a part of Disney Plus. But you have a lock, a password lock behind it, so because they don't have access to Hulu, Hulu's not available everywhere. But for us, I think it's probably going to go to Hulu. I think those shows, because it's their TVMA, they're R-rated, so I'm assuming they go to Hulu. But in terms of them coming back, in terms of appearing again, I feel like that's probably going to be under Disney Plus. But yeah, good question here about DC. Do you think DC should make movies for justly dark characters like Satana, Constantine, Dr. Fate? Yes.
Well, Satana is already getting a movie.
Oh yeah, is that HBO Max exclusive, or is that going to be in theatrical?
It's theatrical, but I think I know what it is they're trying to ask, because J.J. Abrams is doing Justice League Dark universe, and it's going to be both films and TV shows. And the thing with Stan is that I think a lot of people have not paid attention to is that it's being produced for his production company. So yes, it's going to be theatrical, but it is almost a given that Satana, whoever ends up playing her, will be jumping into Justice League Dark stuff as well. They're doing a Constantine reboot on HBO Max. Dr. Fate, we will see what happens. They're doing Madam X, as in Madam Xanadu, as a show as well. So you're definitely getting some Justice League Dark stuff. I don't know if it's going to really have much to do with the DCU, but it's you're getting those characters in one way or another, and I think it's once people hear what they're actually doing, it's going to be quite exciting.
So Amazing My Parent brings up the thing about, will this give Marvel a chance to use things from the shows in the MCU? I think they're going to cherry pick. They're not going to use. I don't think they're going to make those shows canon, in my opinion. I just don't think they will.
Well, I mean, they already have, because Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin is the same one from Daredevil. I think here's what they're going to do. They're not going to probably do flashbacks or do major references. I would say think about it as the Incredible Hulk of Marvel TV. It's there, it's in the same universe, it's all canon, but they don't really talk a lot about it. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be there. Maybe some actors will be recast, but they don't have to reference what has happened in order for those characters to work, because again, they can just have them, because that's the thing. They don't read a lot of stories in general. They don't always look back that much, so they're probably just gonna if we see Mike Coulter's Luke Cage, then we're gonna see him as Luke Cage in a new story that focuses in the present. Same way with Jessica Jones, with Iron Fist, with the Punisher, and so on. So yeah, this whole thing this isn't canon or whatever and so on. The people seem there's been this divide for the last 6-7 years. Put it to rest. Charlie Cox and Vincent D'Onofrio has now shown up in MCU projects. Their shows are canon. If you like it, great. If you hate it, sucks to be you.
I think that just means that a multiverse out there, a version of their characters were in the Netflix. I don't think this means that the show is canon because they didn't say anything directly with their appearances yet that tie into the show. Now this could change because they could easily go that.
Well, Vincent D'Onofrio has said that that's the same Kingpin. That's all. That's all that needs to be said.
He said that, but I mean, he said that that's how he thinks of it, as in terms of playing the character.
But yeah, but also he would not go out and say that because I'm pretty sure whenever they do those kind of interviews, there's a publisher usually sitting next by, and like Disney and Marvel, there are intense. I mean, for good reasons too. I'm not saying that it's crazy, but like they are vetted to be making sure that whatever information goes out there is something that's been agreed upon and so on. And but hey, if some people want to see a semi retcon, it's not a headache I had to deal with because again, like there's no reason why these shows couldn't just be canon just because they didn't mention the Avengers every single episode doesn't mean that they're somewhere in the multiverse. So yeah,
we'll see. Does Cobra Kai get better? I'm still on season 1. I think it does, but that's just me. I really love the show. It's really good. Cough Finch. That's what he said when you were mentioning, like, listing off the names of, like, oh boy, Iron Fist.
But I don't know him.
I feel like that's the one character because they're introducing a new Iron Fist in the comics. I feel like they're probably going to just not have Finn. They're not going to have him come back or whatever. They're not going to have Danny.
Yeah, they actually like to get talent for most of the time. So,
damn, that was brutal. I'm pretty sure they're going to continue to use the Netflix characters now that Disney has rights. I mean, I won't be surprised if Kristen Ritter, because it's been rumored that Kristen Ritter as Jessica Jones is going to pop up in She-Hulk. So we'll see. Connor, I do have high expectations for Kenobi. I do. I hope that it sticks to landing. I feel like it has, and I said this in my video talking about the reveal of the release date. I said that this show has the possibility it has the chance to be the best Star Wars live action show. So we'll see. I don't think we're going to see Matt Ryan as Constantine in the movies. I feel like that's not going to happen. I could be wrong. I'm not sure. I think Andy's just staring now. Just staring.
No, I'm just reading comments to see. Fernando, no.
Look, come on. Who doesn't want that?
The only Inhuman we need in the MCU is Chloe Bennett's Daisy Johnson, and
I do think we need to see Black Bolt, but not the Black Bolt from the show. Black Bolt.
Just recast him and get it over with.
Yeah.
It'd be meta if the new Iron Fist reboot they mentioned Finn Jones that Danny died off screen. LOL. That's.
Oh my
God. If they really want to be petty, which depending on what rider they would get, it's not impossible.
Yeah. Oh,
Daredevil or Arrow? That is.
It's hard to say because Daredevil was so good the entire time. Arrow has had its roller coaster effect.
Yeah, Daredevil is better. Daredevil is better. Yeah, and listen, like. But Stephen Amell, but Charlie Cox is superior. So
Arrow had Olicity, which is fantastic, and Donna Smoke, and Felicity getting out of the wheelchair and giving back the ring and walking out of the apartment.
Yeah, I don't know what drives me crazier, Karen Page or the early nonsense that was Olicity. Now I'm like the later parts, like I got fine with that. So. Lockjaw spinoff. That would be great.
There's back X-Men if it has 4. Do you think Marvel will get Spider-Man back? I mean, no. I think Sony's never going to give that. They're always going to pay that fee. They're always going to keep Spider-Man as long.
I think there will be collaborations though.
Oh yeah,
I think that's enough. Enough
in terms of Marvel owning him outright and not having to deal with Sony. Not going to happen anytime soon.
Unless Disney buys Sony, but I don't think that will get approved because I'm like, you own a little bit too much now.
Probably. So Black Bolt's been rumored for Multiverse of Madness, Illuminati from the comics. You'll see, because there's so many rumors in terms of who's in the movie. I don't trust any rumor that comes out from Multiverse of Madness because there's so many different contradicting rumors that don't make sense.
I mean,
Like,
I'm rumored to show up in that movie for some
we
reason.
shot scenes for it, but we're not talking about that. Anthony's asking, Arrow right now, because I still love that show more because of what it did in terms of the good stuff. But yeah, that's me. Oh God,
What?
Black Vin Diesel's Black Bolt. Oh gosh, I don't think it's gonna happen. No.
I remember when he teased it on, like, he changed his Facebook banner to, like it's him in a white background, and then the text says, "Are you inhuman?" And then he had put like a caption next to it, was Black Bolt, and then look how that went. So yeah,
No.
I think if anything, they're probably gonna go with someone maybe that is a little unknown.
Yeah. I mean, with Anson Mount on the show, he was known for I forget what that show was called.
I know which exactly when you're talking about. It's the tip of my tongue, but no, he got a crappy deal because Anson Mount is amazing, and it's funny. He was also always someone that I dreamed to play Batman / Bruce Wayne on Titans.
Oh.
And then years later, he ended up voicing Batman anyway. So I'm like, well, I guess I got some of it.
Titans. I remember back during season 1 when they had a behind shot of Bruce Wayne, like seeing young Dick Grayson or something, and it's like it looks like Ben Affleck from the back in terms of his hair and everything. In terms of like they're showing Bruce is going to adopt Dick Grayson, and like, oh, okay, so that's their Bruce. And then when they actually cast Bruce, it doesn't match in terms of his hair color and everything. It just completely was odd. I still think about that randomly too, about how Dick Grayson had that flashback, and there's a Bruce. You don't see his face because the camera is behind him, but like literally, it's like, oh, it looks kind of like Ben Affleck in terms of the hairstyle and everything and the build. And then they get Ian Glenn, and it just doesn't match. But then again, that show, for a lot of the times, does not try to match the continuity they set up on themselves.
Oh, no. They don't.
Keep Anson Mount, just ignore the show. I mean, they could go that route. It's a multiverse situation, but I don't know if they would do that. Man.
Arrow season 1 or the Flash season 1? I mean, Flash season 1 all the way.
They're both good.
Flash is better because Flash has better foundation. Arrow, I think they didn't know what to do in like the first like 5, 6, 7 episodes. With the Flash, I feel like but also Flash has the advantage of looking, having Arrow already for 2 seasons and look what they did and how to do it differently. So, but yeah, that's just my opinion.
Which event do you want? Is Arrowverse crossover? I want Infinite Crisis. I don't think they're going to do another big crossover like that for a long time.
Also, I don't need another Crisis. Can we just do like, I don't know, like Crime Syndicate or something? Like, again, I think we're definitely getting more multiverse crossovers within the area at some point, and once it's a little bit also safer to have a lot of people involved. But I don't need any more Crisis. I mean, heck, if you want a Crisis, go read Dark Crisis when it comes out in a few months.
Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. A lot of the same people. We have 23 people watching it. We don't have, not everybody's commenting. What's up, guys? Are you hiding? You scared? Don't be scared of us, guys. We're here. We're here to chat. Don't worry.
Someone was asking me like many times, like what my greatest flaw is. I
could tell you.
Okay, go for it.
Your biggest flaw, Andy, is that you don't give me enough attention, and it hurts.
I mean, I only love myself, so and that's on a good day. So
yourself. Don't you lie to yourself, boy. Yes, I mean, yeah, Connor, you have been here chatting. Just not everybody. I mean, we have 22 people, and definitely not 22 people are chatting up and asking questions and hanging out. I mean, some people like just to be a viewer. That's okay. It's okay. Let's see. I mean, I watched news. I don't think a lot of people did. Not a lot of people did. I actually watched the whole entire season. I don't know why I did that to myself, but I wanted to see how bad it was going to get. And oh boy. Good. What were you gonna say?
I think I don't know why I kept punning myself when I could have just quit, but
yeah, you could. I could have quit too. This is a good question. Elseworlds or Armageddon? That I haven't seen that question in terms of comparing those two events. So one, we have Gotham introduced Batwoman, who's no longer around. Speedster Oliver, Batman officially can be named now in the Arrowverse. The Monitor, 90s Flash was in it too.
Small theme song.
Oh yeah, somebody's. Yeah. Um.
Man, because they're both really really good.
I'll say this. I feel like Elseworlds is good in terms of a lot of introductions, in terms of first time Gotham City being there, Batman, Batwoman is being shown. Batwoman, of course, Batman's name dropped a bunch. Speedster Oliver, first time seeing anything like that.
Mark
Not
Guggenheim is a patient in Arkham Asylum.
90s Flash showing up for like, but still 90s Flash referencing that Diggle has a ring from his Earth. Where's your ring, John?
Tyro Heckling gets to hang out with like everyone.
Exactly. Superman gets to be a part of it, like have an actual part. But in terms of story, Armageddon, I think, was better in terms of the reveal that it's Reverse Flash and everything, and it's a whole. I feel like that's just me, though.
This is the problem because one is a crossover, one is a graphic novel, and that's not to undersell Armageddon because again, Armageddon I think is one of the best things they've done all year with the Arrowverse, and I think I have to say it's a tie between those two because I think with Elseworlds for me, and this it's more based on just I don't care about what happened what happened afterwards, what stuck and what didn't stick, but for me I felt Elseworlds was the first time like because I do not like Rise on Earthx that much, so that when we got to actually it was a little more low key, but it was also I think what we needed. It was between the Trinity, and we still had a lot of good progressive storylines for all the shows, and also I love the whole Elseworlds concept. So the fact that, also I think Grant Gustin and Stephen Moffat I think they got to have some of the most fun time of playing those characters, and having to see having Carr being the one who has to be like, how do we fix this? And I think part 3 gets a little wonky for me, but I think in the end, like, again, Ellsworth is great. Armageddon, I think it is probably one of Barry Allen's best storylines in the entire show, and I think that again, the characters that they brought on, they served their purpose. That's what they were marketing as. This was not a crossover. This was not like again, these characters were only there to serve as Barry's story, which they should have had. And so yeah, for me it's a tie because I think they're both just as great. We have Invasion Armageddon.
I
have to think because it's been a while since I watched Invasion.
Invasion is Supergirl's first appearance in the crossover. I'm gonna say Invasion. I think I liked Invasion more. Yeah,
I need to think a little what. Oh, never mind. I know why I like Armageddon better because I think I would say that Invasion was probably the best thing that could have happened to Arrow for its 100th episode. Like I know there was a lot of Arrow fans that were furious, but I love the 100th episode of Arrow. Like I will say the 100th episode of Arrow is way better than the 100th episode of The Flash. So for people who think I'm just like Flash buys all the time, no, don't worry. I think it really honored the show of everything, not just one specific part. Couple, ship, couple, Elicity. But for me, the whole dispute about when Barry tells him about Flashpoint, and I feel like these characters they turn into such idiots. Like first of all, Sarah, stay in your goddamn lane because what did you do 2 episodes before that? You went up to Damien Dark in the pad and like, well, you kill like I'm gonna get you for killing my sister. Who's your sister? Like, when did I do this and so on? So yeah, like for someone who's being like, you can't just mess up time, like you have to think about the risks that come with it. Sarah, shut up. So yeah, that really drove me insane. And then yeah, just this split. Like I felt some of the I'm glad that Cara and Oliver they stuck to by Barry's side, and like that was actually like one of the proudest moments I had for Oliver. But the rest of it, I'm just like, that's why it gets pushed down, and that's why Armageddon is more favored for me. So
We got a couple things here. So yeah, so it's a rumor. That's don't believe everything you read is what I'm going to say about the rumor that you're talking about. Don't believe everything you read. Did you guys end up liking Earth 2 Laurel, even though Earth 1 Laurel got shafted? I mean, yeah, I liked Earth 2 Laurel. Definitely a different take.
I love her. I think that I mean, again, it's disgusting what happened, and and it should not have happened that way, because I feel like that they could have easily gotten to that point with Laurel, like in terms of powers, being a little more like the like more closer to Black Canary. I mean, she's a great portrayal of Diana Laurel Land / Black Canary in the comics, but I think that there's obviously things they could do with what they could do with Black Siren, because it was a kind of a clean slate. But the thing is, the show was always against Laurel for whatever reason. I don't know whatever happened, or do I know? We will see. But like I end up loving Laurel, Earth 2 Laurel, because I think Katie Cassidy got to have a lot more fun. And with the role, I think the costume was way better. And like I remember when those first set photos came out with her, with the big coat and like that little tiny hints of fishnets. Again, I'm not gonna force any Black Canary in Vancouver to run around in fishnets, just to make it clear. But even though it at the fact that we got Earth 2 Laurel at the expense of Earth 1 is disgusting, but again, at least they gave us something, and they actually, did good on her. And by the end of the show, she was a Black Canary, and she was, there was no bye bye birdie like some fans were happy about. Oh God, they go speak. What are you doing in the chat?
He's always in the chat. So we have this. I want a true Bat Family animated series. That would be cool. That would be cool.
Aren't they doing? I thought they were doing one. They got like announced like not that long ago.
It's a Batman animated series.
No, not the one from J.J. Abrams and Matt Reeves. The one that, hold on, I know that there is something announced.
It wasn't actually an official DC thing. They were trying to make it feel like it's an actual DC animated show, and it got shut down. I think that's what it was, or something.
I can look it up. Because I remember there was like they had a whole cast and everything.
Well, I made a video on this while Mark Guggenheim saying Earth 1 Laurel's storyline was just. I made a video about that.
Those comments still triggers me to this point. Like I'm like, you ran out of stories. No, you ran out of ideas because obviously you weren't up to the job.
It's 9:17 now, guys. I think we're probably going to go until about 9:30ish. Because we've been answering questions for a good while, guys. So send in your most in-demand questions. And, of course, super chats, of course, are very appreciative. But a lot of good stuff tonight in terms of your guys' comments. Thank you, guys. Oh, yeah. Okay, here's this. Webtoon didn't get the proper licensing for a live-action show, just their comics.
Oh, okay. That's sad.
I remember hearing about that, because, like, the Webtoon thing was like this. It was like a comedy take on the Bat Family, like a more comedic approach, and they were trying to do a live action thing, and it kind of went all over the place. Okay, Arrow's 100th episode.
Arrow.
Of Flashes.
There's no competition.
He's gonna say Arrow over that one. He's
there. I laughed. I cried. I cheered. I had so much fun.
And it was so because they made it work within the crossover, which I forgot about that.
Yeah, like I mean, because in theory, it shouldn't work. It shouldn't work, but yet it did. And and also because I think one of the reasons it worked so well, because James Bamford, my good buddy Bam Bam, whatever he is, wherever he is, if you're listening, he did a kick-ass job with that episode. And again, it felt like a love letter to the whole show. Like it felt like the show that I started watching in season 1. So yeah. So I am not in love with Donna Smoke. That will never happen.
So Skynet's comment, he mentioned how his rewrite for Gotham Knights would be that the Batwoman team is killed and Dick Grayson is framed for the killings, and Red Hood and Batgirl are there, and Stephanie becomes spoiler. To me, it just you're basically just killing off a show because you want to make another show. It just doesn't make sense. Like if you're gonna like if they're
What he
doing
said.
if you're doing Gotham Knights, it's wrong way. It was the other way. You pointed the wrong way. There you go. But the thing is too, since they're trying to do a Gotham Knights, it's got to be a multiverse situation because it's not going to make anyway. It's not going to make any sense to have it on the same Earth. And okay, if Dick Grayson's being framed for it, where was he at all this time when Bruce was missing? Explain that. You can't. So there you go. Doesn't make sense. You're not going anywhere, Flash. Thank you, Webhead. Would you like Miles Morales in the MCU or the Sonyverse? I think he works better in his own universe. I'm fine with it being animated right now, Alex. I'm fine with it being animated for the moment. In terms of him getting his solo films in the multiverse animated.
I would be fine with either the Sonyverse or the MCU. Although I would love it if he showed up either in the Webverse or the Raimiverse. It's, you know, I could see if, you know, we're never gonna get Spider-Man 4 in that way, but I could see Tobey Maguire coming back as a mentor figure to a Miles in his universe. I think that could be kind of cool. So, but yeah, no, I think I'm definitely ready for Miles Morales in live action. I think it's time. I think there's a lot of fans all over the world that want to see it, and I think the character has, you know, I get where the animated films are amazing. I'm excited to see part 1 of Across the Spider-Verse on my birthday. Thank you, so named. Probably you were only thinking of me and just me, and yeah, so you know, I'm ready for more Miles, no matter where. Like if it's video games, animation, or live action, I'm ready.
I like this question because it's bringing up what we had brought up before about the deep fake of Luke in episode 6 of Mando, Book of Boba Fett. I think they're probably going to go deep fake. They're probably not going to bring Alden back. I could be wrong, but I think that time is now passed because I feel like if they're going to bring Han back, it's going to be in a limited capacity like Luke in terms of a deep fake. Because they hired that guy, the guy who did the deep fake for Luke, they hired him for a reason, not just for a one-off Luke, you know, appearance. They're using him so that they can create deep fake versions of characters where the actors have grown up to the point, or in terms of aged out, basically, of playing them for real.
I like this question or this comment. The 150th episode of The Flash with The Flash is much more of a love letter to the show than the 100th episode. That's Bernard, you hit it right on the head. That's exactly how I felt watching it and rewatching it and rewatching it and crashing the CW website and then rewatching it. And yeah, it's one of the best episodes of The Flash of all time. So I agree. I agree with you.
I like this thing. I said it best. Tom in the MCU, Andrew in the Sonyverse, and Tobey training Miles. That's a pretty good compromise for everything. Because I think Andrew deserves to continue his stuff, and I think Tobey has some sort of way. I mean, he would not continue per se. I mean, but him training Miles, I mean, that's interesting. I mean, he's still being Spider-Man. He's training him how to be a Spider-Man. But I think Andrew in the Sonyverse would be really interesting.
It feels more natural based on like because I actually just recently watched both Venom movies, and they feel so much just in tone and aesthetic like it could be in the Mark Webb universe. So
maybe they've been setting up this whole time, maybe.
Yeah, and like, but the thing is that even if they haven't been doing it, you know, intentionally this entire time, they can easily just insert Andrew there, and it would work perfectly. It wouldn't ruin anything that has happened, really.
Yeah. The Flash season 2 finale or Arrow season 5 finale?
Which one was 5 again? Is that the one Liam blows up? Season 2 finale for Flash. I mean, because for me, like the premiere for Arrow afterwards, it was such a big fu to that season 5 finale where I'm like, this is the biggest ending we've ever had on Arrow compared to the series, until we got the series finale. And that's what, and that's all we got. Like everyone was basically fine and whatnot. So like, cause I remember like when I saw the season 5 finale of Arrow, Jordan, like I was like, Arrow's back. We're back. Like I'm ready. I'm excited. I'm stoked. And then that's what we got. So yeah, Flash season 2 for me, the finale.
Gotcha. So Skynet said his explanation about the the Gotham Knights rewrite is that it would be revealed that Batwoman wasn't dead, and they would basically come together as Gotham Knights. You're still getting rid of Batwoman. You're still getting rid of that show to make yours work, and I feel like that just doesn't make sense. I get that you want to try to make it work in terms of we're still in the set in the same Earth, but ultimately, just the way they're going about in terms of how they're explaining the original, like what they're trying to do with the pilot and everything, and the whole description of it, it's got to be separate. And I understand your point, but look, Dick Grayson is in Titans. Red Hood is on Titans. Like, and I know they had Stephanie, and that's spoiler, but like all this other stuff that was trying to bring up in terms of like Batgirl and stuff, no, it's not going to happen.
Oh, Triple X's question. That's interesting.
Do you think it's disrespectful to deepfake actors that passed away? Okay, if they deepfake Chadwick Boseman, I feel like that's a whole different situation, and they're not going to do that. I could be wrong. I don't think they will. Carrie Fisher, before she died, saw the ending of Rogue One, where we see a young Leia that's basically a New Hope Leia. She approved it, but when it comes to actors who have passed away, it's different. I mean, literally, Billy Lord, Carrie Fisher's daughter, along with Carrie Fisher's brother, approved of Leia being de-aged in the sequence in The Rise of Skywalker where she's training with Luke and we see a young Leia. That was approved by her family. And of course, they used footage that was unused from The Force Awakens in the movie. But in terms of the only way Chadwick Boseman would be deepfaked or CGI'd, which it'd be deepfake at this point because of the technology, or a mixture of both. But it would only be approved if Chadwick's family approves of it. But I don't think Marvel's going to do it. I don't think Marvel's going to go that direction.
I personally don't like the idea of them doing deep face of people who have passed away. I think it's, if it's more so that it's people who are, they're older now, they can't do the roles anymore physically, and as long as they've given permission, I think that's okay. I think that's cool. But not with people who are dead. I think there's a disrespect in that regard, in a lot of ways.
Do you think we'll see Robin in Robert Pattinson's Batman universe with movie 2 or 3? I think
yes.
Yeah, okay. I think it's possible. I don't know. It all depends on how the first film, how it's approached in terms of how they're handling this version of Bruce, because maybe it wouldn't make sense for him to take on a protege or take on a young Dick Grayson. But people are saying they think Dick Grayson is going to be popping up at the end of this movie. I don't know, because I feel like Bruce is still young. Bruce needs to be a little bit older before he takes on a Robin, in my opinion, because they said that this Bruce Wayne, this Batman, this is 2 years in, 2 years in Batman. So him picking up Dick Grayson right now would make no sense. So Dick Grayson's probably like 2 or 3 years old in terms of the timeline, because traditionally Batman has been around for a while before he pulls a Robin in. Like, he's around for like, I would say 6, 7, 8 years in, maybe even longer before he picks up a protege like that. Because I mean, he has to be, because I mean, literally, it feels like this is the first time he's dealt with the Riddler. It doesn't feel like he's dealt with these villains a lot. So he needs to be more well versed in dealing with these villains before he takes on a kid to go fight crime. Do you think that all the DC shows will get renewed? Yeah, possibly. I think they'll probably all get renewed, but we still don't know officially yet. Ooh, here's a good question: Avengers Endgame or the Snyder Cut? It's hard to say.
I mean, not for me, but I don't want to deal with hate comments for
I hear you. That's a hard question. They're both good for their own reasons. The Snyder Cut, the fact that we actually got it, and Avengers Endgame is the culmination of all these movies. With technology like this now, do you think it will be an actor's contract that they can use deepfakes? Possibly. Eventually, that's going to have to start being in contracts. I mean, they already CGI the actor's face on stunt doubles during movies. They already did that. But in terms of like, if they're physically not there, and deep fake or something of the actor, if they're not physically available to be there, that would probably have to be in a contract, because they can't just go, well, the actor's not available. Okay, let's bring in this person and we're going to deep fake the person on there, even though that person could easily just show up, but they're not available. So we're going to deep fake. That's a
Yeah,
lot of post.
yeah,
Because
and I know that with comics, when they're doing comics based on TV shows and movies, they have to get the actors a permission to use their likeness for it, and that's something you also have to pay. So yeah, I can see it happen in terms of them eventually, when the contract starts looking different from now, like 10 years from now, I think that it will be in the contract, like the option to give them permission to deepfake or not. In that case, there's going to be extra money given to the actor anytime they do it, because even though they're not there on set when those scenes are being filmed, their faces will be used, and so it's I think that's something that we can see happen.
okay, we answered a lot of questions, guys. It's been, I think a pretty successful show in terms of the topics we covered. We covered a variety of stuff. We answered a lot of questions. We'll answer this one last question from Anthony. Do you think Nightwing and Wonder Girl are the best fighters in Titans? Yeah, no doubt. I mean, literally, they have the most training. Now, in terms of like who's more deadly, I think that look who's in the corner.
Oh,
Little face. But in terms of like Raven could be a serious problem if she actually used her powers, like, properly. She did at the end of the season 3 finale, but it wasn't much. And Beast Boy, if he actually learned how to turn into more animals, he'd be a much bigger threat. But right now, in terms of fighting and style, Nightwing and Wonder Girl, no problem.
I was able to Starfire, like when if especially when she kept like losing her memories and stuff like that. You saw like she almost killed Gar at least twice. So, yeah,
Not in state in mind. Yeah, she's out of her mind. Don't remember anything. Okay, guys. Well, thank you guys for being here for the 3rd episode of Endless Multiverse. We want to thank everybody for being here, and thank you all for being a part of the show and chatting and throwing in your questions and being a part of the topics. It was really cool to, as we're talking, to see you guys commenting on the topics as we're going through them. It was really cool to see that. And we're going to continue to do this every Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, unless there's a change in time start or day. We will, of course, let you guys know ahead of time, but the idea is to try to do them on Fridays as much as possible to cover a variety of topics. And luckily, we got some stuff dropping today in terms of the DC footage, which was really awesome. And yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. We success.
Like and subscribe, follow us on our social medias. Links in the show notes.
Move the banner. I keep looking at the brand thing. Yes. Follow Chainsaw Reacts. Follow Andy on social media, his YouTube channel. Of course, all of our links are in the description, guys. All the links. We'll have time starts for the show in a bit, so that when you go back to watch, you can skip around if you want, or just sit back and enjoy the whole show again. We really appreciate you guys. So I think that's it. I think there's only one thing really to say as we're closing out. I know what's going to be said as soon as we're ending the broadcast, because it's happened the last 2 times. And he's not going to do it until I'm about to hit the end. So bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
There we go.
Tracy.